Have you guys noticed how there are these people who are looking for God and then they're stopped by some kind of a logical contradiction? I don't think this is like a small thing at all. I think this is a giant stumbling block for them. And if this contradiction isn't solved in a way that they accept, they understand, then they will not get past it and they will not find God. And we as Christians have to do a bit better than say something like, oh, this is God working in mysterious ways, this is part of his amazing plan we don't understand, you know. That's not going to help with understanding of solving the problem, and it's not going to be satisfying to somebody who is trying to understand, who doesn't believe. So here's my attempt at trying to solve one of these contradictions. I was talking to this dude on the internet, and he said there's this contradiction in creation when God says everything is good, and then there's this evil snake, and sin is introduced into the world, death and corruption. So how is everything good, God? And the way I solve this contradiction, the way it makes sense to me is by understanding first of all that cleverness is not an evil, it's not a sin, you know. God can make a clever snake and that's fine, that is still good. It's the scheme of the snake that is evil. We have to be very careful and technically correct now because we are dealing with the schemes of the devil and he is, like it says, the cleverest of the beasts. So the devil hatches an evil plan, not God. And the plan is to overthrow God, to make him out to be a liar, to make him guilty of bringing forth sin. And he does this through man and woman. The snake tricks them into breaking God's law. And then the snake says to God, well, I never break any law, I never broke any law, so I'm not guilty of anything. Your creation did it. And they were made in your image and you said they were good, so you're wrong, right? This is how the devil, the accuser, through his cleverness tries to deal a blow against God and overtake him. But he gets trapped by his own cleverness because for this accusation to work against God, God would have to be responsible for the actions of his creation. And if that's possible, if it's possible for somebody to be responsible for the actions of another, then isn't it obvious that the devil is no longer innocent? You know, he loses his protection. He was the one who caused Eve to break the law, which then brought sin. So he becomes trapped by his own cleverness. That's how the contradiction is solved in my eyes, in my mind. Now this is the part where if you are sympathetic to the devil, if you don't love God, if you don't know God, you might want to go deeper with the devil, into his hell, into this prison. And you might say, well, isn't God still kind of horrible because he made the snake so clever, so now he's a prisoner. So now your heart is like crying for the devil, right? But don't you know that he betrayed an innocent man who wanted to save everybody who fell into that prison? The spirit of Satan went into Judas, who then betrayed Christ. So, does it make sense for you to be sympathetic to the devil? What kind of a heart do you have if the death of the innocent man means nothing to you? It goes deeper than this also. It's one of those prisons that you can get lost in if you don't know God. And it's a hell. Because now you can say, now the devil can lie to you and say, well, I only did it because I wanted to save everybody as well. Like, it was necessary for Christ to die, right? So that's why I betrayed him and had him killed. It was to save everybody. But that's another lie, another layer in the deceptions, because now you're saying that the thing that kills innocent men wants to save guilty men. It's like doesn't end. It keeps going deeper into the darkness, into the evil, where there is suffering and gnashing of teeth. The truth is not in him. You can't side with the devil ever. It's just a worse prison every time. You need to be saved from that place, and that is why you have to repent before Christ. If you thought you were clever, if you come up with some kind of a clever way to dismiss what I just said, which came from the Spirit of Truth, that's just another thing you now have to repent. Otherwise, you are in a worse position. We have to be careful with the schemes of the devil, and if we want to help people understand God, we have to expose the snake. We have to bring to light the evil things it's doing, so people understand. It makes sense to them. Yeah.